Prioritization in the strategic planning process is the toughest part. By far, it's hard. It's the hardest thing to do when you're thinking about what you want to get done. And if you think about it, everybody out there these days has too much to do. They all say that they have too many priorities, too many different things that are competing for their time. And ultimately what ends up happening is people create long lists of to-dos, and this is at the organizational level as well as at the individual level. And over time, what ends up happening is the lists grow and grow and grow. And people feel helpless. They feel that they're not getting anything done relative to this always growing list. And the problem has to do with prioritization, and the problem has to do with discipline. The issue is that if you have too many things on your list, you focus on none of them. You focus on what happens by default rather than by design. And the problem with that is the things that truly matter most aren't necessarily the ones that get done. If those things that truly are most important strategically actually get done, if you have that many priorities, it's really more by luck. Because what ends up happening without true prioritization to a very small number of priorities, you end up in a scenario where you are focused on the urgent at the expense of the important. And that can't be stressed enough. Many people today are focused on what happens to be the biggest fire in their lap today. And the problem with that is they don't get what matters done. And so going back to strategic planning, it's all about having the hard work done on the front end, figuring out what are the top 3 things you need to do to move your association forward, to move forward your area in that association, and individually, what are the top 3 things you need to do, and focus like a laser beam on only those things until they're completed. The other part of that is, without focus, you can't have alignment. If everybody in the organization is working on something different, you're all pulling in different directions. Nobody is working as a team. And the issue with that, of course, is that as a team, if you are cohesive, if you do have a unified goal or small set of goals, you pull together. You find a way to get things done because you have a unified voice. You have that collaboration. And that can't exist if you don't have alignment. If you have 10 different people working on 10 different things, nothing's going to get done. Whereas if you have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 things at most that are truly your priorities, and you create alignment, you ensure that everybody in the team is working on those priorities, then you can see some magic start to happen. And it's actually the simplest thing in the world when you think about it, but the problem is it takes hard work on the front end when you're at that planning meeting, when you're off-site at your strategic retreat, when you're talking to your board, and if you hire consultants to help you, it's not about the length of the plan being voluminous and being detailed. It's about it being small, compact, understandable, and ultimately narrowed down to only a small number of priorities. And my favorite quote on this topic is from Jim Collins, who always says that if you have more than 3 priorities, you essentially have no priorities.